I broke Midnight Mining Herbalism 75.8% perception. This is actually crazy. This has to be the best way to farm Dazzling Thorium and Nocturnal Lotus in Midnight. And the funny thing is, I could have even broke 80% with just a bit more time on the beta. Even at 75.8% then, I'm basically doubling the amount of Dazzling Thorium and Nocturnal Lotus that I'm farming. We are mega stacking perception here then. So let's have a look at some of the sources within Midnight. Obviously we have a perception tool with a perception enchant. We do pick up quite a bit of perception from knowledge as well, just passively from each of the individual nodes. Consumable wise, we have the Sanguiform tea, which gives perception and speed as a food buff. Haranir File of Perception is our perception file in Midnight, and that's going to buff us a bit more. Now we have overloading with mining and herbalism again in Midnight. Most of the nodes that you can overload just give motes. The wild nodes from Zul'Aman spawn an elite if overloaded, which once killed gives you a huge 150 perception buff. This lasts 5 minutes by default and 10 minutes if you have maxed out the wild section on the overload tree. Then we have another huge 150 perception buff from fish. A lot of the fish in Midnight give you a buff that you get when you throw them back into the water, and there's a few that give a big perception buff as well. Now obviously this was intended for fishing, but we can abuse this for mining and herbalism. The buff only lasts for 30 seconds, but we can stack this for up to 5 minutes. Our basic buff perception then is just under 50%, then overloading and fish puts us up to almost 80%. That sounds like a lot of Dazzling Thorium and Nocturnal Lotus. Another factor here is that we have to do this farm in Zul'Aman in order to get the wild nodes to overload, but that also means that we can get the lower buffs that can help us in our farming. This can help us with gathering speed or killing elites. You have to unlock these and choose which you want from the altar. For general mining and herbalism setup to min-max to make the most gold per hour, and for potential basic farming routes, check out the Gold Making Community Discord, link in the description below, and that should get you started. Now I need to be clear here, this could be the best way to farm Lotuses and Thorium in Midnight, but just because it's the best way to farm it, it doesn't mean that it's the best gold per hour, and that's an important distinction. Killing the elites here slows you down, especially at the start of the expansion when you have crap gear. At 75.8% then I'm basically almost doubling the amount of Dazzling Thorium and Nocturnal Lotus, which sounds great. It does almost double your chances of getting them, but it's doubling your chance of a fairly low drop rate. Additionally, if you are looking at min-maxing Dazzling Thorium and Nocturnal Lotus farming, then you really need the last node in each ore and herb, which boosts the chance of getting these to drop. If you are stacking perception without having these knowledge points allocated, then you're kind of wasting your time. Now this could be something that ends up fantastic. If we end up with Lotus prices, or if we end up with Thorium prices, kind of like what Northstones were at the start of War Within, that was absolutely crazy, then this could end up being amazing. But I've got a feeling that's not going to happen. If I was to say what I thought at the moment, perhaps this is not going to be amazing at the start of the expansion. Kind of feel like this is something that could well end up being like an endgame gathering build when you're at 250 plus knowledge points. That's where the strengths seem to lie. So say you've got all of the copper, silver and tin nodes maxed out to increase those, and then you've stacked perception, and then you've also got overload wild maxed as well to give you the 10-minute buffs. In that kind of situation, this feels really strong, especially as you can stack it with the lower buff in Zul'Aman as well. Therefore, I don't necessarily think this is the best place to go with your mining and herbalism at the start of Midnight. Stick with the basic builds that I've given you on the Discord, unless of course the prices go absolutely crazy. More than anything, I just thought this was a cool little thing that we can do with our mining and herbalism in Midnight, so I thought I would share it. Maybe not the build for now, but perhaps the build for the future. If this video is helpful, then please leave it a like and stay tuned for more farming videos.